Welcome. And yeah, I did it. I finally got the music going. I've been working on music this whole time. Yeah. So today's class is dedicated to finding your grounding breath. So as we're working, there will be reminders again and again to, find your grounding breath. Hi, Diane. And what I want you to think about, yes, on yoga on your mat, there's always ways to find your grounding breath, but throughout the day, there are other ways to find your grounding breath. Like if you're at a desk, you could just step outside, look up at the sky. At night, before you go to bed, step outside and look up at the night sky, even if it's clouds out. These are just ideas I thought of, like eating outside. You have your lunch outside. I love to have dinner outside. We have a little balcony, in our condo. And touch a tree. There's nothing more grounded than a tree. Like to sustain that big density of its weight, it has to be so grounded. So, and then I have a little quote I'll share. It's from a man named Johnny Lung, L-U-N-G. I don't know if that's his real name, but what a cool name, Johnny Lung. I should be Franny Lung. I mean, that'd be kind of cool. And he says, it's pretty easy. The trick to life is to just keep breathing. That's what got us through last week. That's what got us through this week. Just keep breathing. Okay, so welcome. And as far as the class goes, well, you'll see how it all works out here. Yeah, so we're going to start out because there was a little hint about, back, get into your back, stretch your hip joints. So let's take a moment, reach the arms up into the air. Interlace fingers, press palms up, and press palms upward, sits bones anchored, and then take the arms behind the back, interlace fingers, squeeze shoulder blades together, and look up, stretch in front of your neck, and then chin down. So we're coming forward, and you can sit as you are cross-legged. Maybe some of you can sit half lotus. You never know. Half lotus would be foot on top of thigh. Wherever you're at, you're gonna come forward, and we all stretch into the inner thighs, outer hip, and low back. And then whichever leg is on top of the other or in front of the other, you're going to twist in that direction. So for me, it's this right leg is in front of the other, so I'll twist that way. Yep, or on top of the other. And turning. And then reverse the crossing. So you could stretch your legs out and then reverse. And again, just maybe sitting cross-legged or bringing one foot on top of the other for your other side of half lotus. And coming forward again. And that was good. I like some of your moving around as you come forward. Some are just walking hands straight forward. And breathe. Hip joints, yeah. Yep. If you suddenly find yourself unable to come forward, that could be your hip joints. Usually hip joints, low back. Okay, we'll come up, and then we're going to twist towards this top leg or the leg that's in front of the other. So you're basically twisting the opposite way, and look to the space. All right, and then releasing, and once again, stretching out your legs, and just gonna shake them out. So one more that we can do for the hip joints, and I think some of you like this. You cross your right leg on top of left thigh, and you go side, 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 side. We've done this on our backs, and then here we are from the seated position. And when I go over to the right, I'm trying to get my right outside thigh to touch down. When I go left, get my right foot or left outside thigh to touch down. And then finally coming back to center, and maybe that's your max, and maybe you can bring your buttock right up, or hip to heel, or buttock to heel. Flex the ankle of the top leg, and yeah, please. And then we'll come onto our backs. And while you're here now, all the weight is off the wrists, and same thing, your legs are the same figure, the same shape, and then you're going over side, side. So this one is simpler on the back because you don't have to hold yourself up, back and forth.
Seems like it gets more into lower back.
When you're on your back?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think it's more effective, yeah. And then next time you go, so your right leg's on top, next time you go to the left, go ahead and stay there in your twist and have it so your feet don't overlap. You're like, it's like a pretzel. Your right knee is bent, your left knee is bent. My right foot is resting on my left thigh. And see if you can really extend. Imagine your right arm is growing longer. Reaching outward. I'm so sorry, onliners. I got here, I didn't get here too late, but I was messing with the student stereo and I wasn't able to greet everyone. You guys like to beginning. All right, so one more breath here. Inhale, exhale, good job. Come on out, and then once you come out, realign and pull knees into chest, stretching your low back. And then we come up, and once we come up, we have the second side. So left ankle on top of right thigh, left ankle flexed, and then there we go. We're going back and forth. So it's different, isn't it? It seems more effective from the back, but side, side. Are you traveling?
Yeah.
Are you traveling? Hang on to your pants.
I haven't quite figured out why.
This is one I have to keep like pulling my yoga gear up. And then from here, now you're gonna like get your heel closer in, and you know it's a lot of pressure to bring yourself forward and flexing the left ankle and breathe. Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? All right, and then you'll be so happy to come onto your backs. And once again, we go that twist, twist, back and forth. So yes, I think you have more access to your low back. People are starting to smile again. All right, and then let's go ahead and drop down. So your knees drop over to the right. And you can place your right hand on top of left knee and arrange your legs so they don't necessarily overlap. You got to turn your head to the left and breathe. Good. Okay, one more breath here. Inhale and exhale. Come on out. Good job. And let's do this one. It's
this will be the last one on our backs. So the feet are together, soles of the feet are together, outside feet resting to the mat, bound angle. And because we have this, grounding breath, I think this is really nice to do. Hands are right onto the belly, and you're going to breathe into your belly, and your hands, they float upward, right? As your belly expands. And as you exhale, you're going to draw your navel downward. You don't have to manipulate your back at all. It's just like breathing and letting your belly inflate and deflate. Inflate on the inhale and deflate on the exhale. Interlace fingers, press palms up overhead, and just give yourself a nice stretch this way. Good job. And then release. We're going to take the hands to the outside knees, pull knees right into chest. And then we'll roll on up to sitting, and there you are on hands and knees. We'll just see how this all works. So kind of different phases. Maybe you can think of it as 4 phases today. They have the warm-ups, and then now some different poses still kind of warming us up. Sun salutations and another sequence. So we'll extend right arm, left leg. So I think of this, you're holding steady, not wavering. It is kind of like it's balance work, it's core. And you're going to bring your right elbow to left knee and then extend and see if you can work this slowly. Now switch. Left arm extending, right leg extending. And then elbow, knee, be steady. And then extend. One more on each side. Right arm, left leg. Right elbow, left knee. Extend. And switch. Left arm, right leg. Curl in. And extend. Tiger. So you might be repeating that again, but maybe you can take right hand, left foot. And some can hold, the knee is down. Some can hold and kick. And look straight ahead of you. Yeah, so if that doesn't work for you, repeating the previous pose. So this is also known as tiger. Yeah. Exhale, and then release, and the other side. Extend and reach. Left hand, right foot, and extend. Yeah,
Which ones did I do? I know you should take a
We got it. You got it. Yeah. And if you can, you're looking ahead, steady. And release. Okay. And then we come to our knee. We're coming to think of it like a side plank. And doesn't matter which side you go to. Maybe you're adjusting so you can see me. And what I'm thinking of, like for me, it's my left knee down. So my left hand is to the left of my left knee. So in other words, the hand is behind the supporting knee. And then you're going to take one leg up, one arm up. And you can take the arm up over here, holding steady. Good, good. Flex the ankle of the leg up in the air. So again, you might stay here, or maybe you can reach same hand, same foot, top hand, top foot. Good. Balancing, and the real balance comes when you look up. Good job. And this one, I'm now pointing foot of the leg I'm holding. Okay, release. Come on out. Make fists round your back so it brings your wrists into a neutral place. And then let's do the other side. So of course, use your knee padding if you need something. So other side, leg comes up, ankle flexed. You got it. And go ahead and take the top arm up over ear, holding steady. You can hold here, or maybe even grab and hold hand to ankle. And then I point the foot that I'm holding. Yeah. And maybe even looking upward. There's a lot of balance involved. And breathe. The kicking helps, believe it or not, helps to steady you. Holding firmly and kicking. And then release. And now make fists and around your back. Again, neutral place with the wrists, rounding the back, good work. And then from here, we're going to come to, this is still kind of working the hip area. Bring your right foot forward, think lizard, right foot is forward. I need the padding, I forgot to. So you're in lizard and the foot is to the outer edge, so you have hand, foot. And if you're real tight, you're up, but maybe you can shift your pelvis forward and some can bring the elbows down. Sometimes bring the elbows onto blocks or elbows touch down and knee. Right into the hip joints, and which of course helps your back. And then, is it possible to come to pigeon? And if not, you may find, oh, at this point, maybe I'll hold this pose, maybe I'll work with a twist or thread the needle on your back. But if you can come to pigeon, right leg will come up into the air and right knee will come forward at an angle. And then upward, and you know, it's fine to use blocks, not help you a lot. Come down and we'll just do 3 rounds of breath here. So we're going to come out downward facing dog. Press on back, stretching your way back. And then the left foot will come to the outside left hand. And the back knee comes down. Yep, so lizard, and you might be able to draw your elbows down. It's fine to rest one elbow on a block or use both.
Oh,
Are we laughing?
no, I'm just so much tighter now than I used to.
Oh, that's funny.
You're the only one here. Yeah, now that I'm 66, it just doesn't look the way it did when I was 50.
How does that work? How does that happen? You know what I say? You're stronger now. How's that? You're more muscle.
I certainly hope that's true.
Okay, so once again, some of you will stay right as you are, or come onto your back for the next part, or taking your left leg up into the air, reach up high, and then left knee comes forward. Well, what I think, what I always wonder is, how would I move or not move if I never did yoga? Like I have no idea, because like in a everyday life, we don't necessarily twist that way, don't necessarily side bend, I mean, or arch. So, and that's what I wonder. And there are still poses that have always areas in my body that are just chronically, it's just like maybe genetically chronically tight. And I stretch them all the time, and I wonder where would I be? I don't even want to go there. So there was someone in my class, we're going to do one more breath here, inhale, exhale, and she was very, discouraged because she didn't feel she was getting more limber. Let's go ahead and come back. She came to class all the time and stretch back, stretch back, stretch back. But we're going to walk to the front of the mat. So I had a chat with her and said, she was so discouraged. And I said, well, let me ask you this. 2 questions. Have you gotten tighter? No, just as tight as I've always been. How do you feel at that's a good thing. She wasn't getting tired. And then how do you feel at the end of the class? And she felt good. She felt energized. She didn't feel like she was necessarily limber, but she felt really centered and peaceful. So I thought, well, that's it. Well, there's your answer right there. So anyway, she stayed with it. She still does her yoga. And I think she's more limber than she was. So let's come on up. And then extend the arms, palms facing up. And hands are to heart center. So we've got, I'm going to keep the blanket nearby because I'll want it. And we're working on sun salutation. So you'll see there's one variation, and it is working with crescent moon on those. So the front end of the mat. I'll be this way. First round. So hands are to heart. Inhale, reach up, feet press down into the mat. Remember this whole idea of grounding breath. Reach skyward, and then we'll add a side bend reach for like you're looking forward and come to one side. I have my right hand, I'm pulling my right hand over to the left, stretching the right side of my body. And then the other side, grabbing hold of my left wrist, left hip, left wrist over to the right, and breathe. Back to center. And then bring your hands right onto your thighs, top thighs, and push back, and then come down. And lower your head. So it's a nice stretch to the legs, shake out your head. And then look ahead of you. And fold in. Right foot steps back, pause for a moment in your, what I call a low lunge. And then the back heel comes down. And we reach the arms up, palms touch. The arms wide if you like. Just feel strong and feel as if light emanates from you. Your source of energy, your center. And then we'll bring the back knee down. So crescent moon. That was a beautiful crescent moon last night. So palms, and I knew I was going to do crescent moon today. We'll see something like so pretty. So reach up, arch. Press your pelvis forward, take the arms further back. Now, we're going to press back to plank. Okay, just going to come right back to plank. Hands are spread wide. Knees will come down. Your pelvis stays up and your chin comes down. So you pause for a moment, and then the pelvis comes down and you press up into cobra. So it could be a baby cobra or hands hovering above the floor or pressing and lift. Lower and press back to child's pose. Head comes down and breathe. And downward facing dog. So the right leg will come up. Now look at your hands, not just swinging the foot forward, but your shoulders shift forward as well to get your foot forward. Good. So you're in a low lunge, pressing your left hip down. And then we have warrior one. So back heel is down, reach. Someone use the mirrors and then clean them. You have the feet wide, the arms are wide, feet pressing down. And lower. And your back knee will come down. So you're really trying to take your pelvis forward, good, and reach the arms up. You can have, and this one, the palms stay together, right? So one thumb press against the other, helping to keep your hands together. You can reach the arms further back, creating a crescent shape with your body. And then lower and step to the front of your mat. So once you step to the front of the mat, have the feet together, and we have chair, Utkatasana. So you start bending your knees and lower, lower, lower. Take the arms alongside you and breathe. Press heels into the mat, reach up, arch back. And then hands to heart center. Chin towards chest. So the second one is similar. The only difference is you start with your left leg, you lead with your left leg comes forward. And we'll just see how we do. On this one, just so I might like be bending, I might be folding my mat over, towels are nice, whatever, however you want to work this, your knees are comfortable and stable. So hands are a little more quiet for you, so you can really focus on the grounding. Reach up and arch. Forward bend. Left foot back, warrior one. Lowering the back knee, crescent moon. Plank position. Feet are together. Knees down and chin down. And then lower the belly and press up into cobra. And child's pose. Downward facing dog. You may want to pedal here or raise both heels and lower, whatever feels best for you. Left leg will come up into the air. Look at your hands and swing foot and shoulders forward. Easier said than done. And then back heel down, warrior one. Hands down and your knee, right knee down. Second side of the crescent moon, jump, arch. And step forward in your forward fold, have your feet all the way together. And then we have chair, so you're dropping down. Yeah. Press heels into the mat, reach up, reach back. You're probably feeling pretty warm right now. And then hands to heart center. Yeah, so that's why I had that feeling to work like that, because it's good to do. And then the next ones, we can do this. So it's kind of like poses in twos in categories. So you'll kind of see how that all works. And there's a whole sequence on one side and then we bring it to the other side. So I don't know that I think it matters maybe that, we'll start out with the right foot will come up and it's going to start with tree. There's 2 balance poses. I did not prepare my strap, but just so you can see it, there'll be tree. And then later there's the leg out to the side. So a lot of people will need, the strap, a towel, or be by a wall. That works. Okay. So starting out with tree. Migration tool. Now, we talked about the grounding breath, and I was suggesting ways to experience the grounding breath off the mat, just like that connection, going outside, taking the lunch outside. Ground through your feet. Imagine your big tree, oak, or who knows. Whatever tree you are, you're grounded. You have a taproot that goes deep to the earth. Keeps you steady. And then you might hold your tree longer, or at this point, maybe you can take index finger, middle finger to big toe, or using your strap, and you're kicking your leg open to the right. The free arm can come up into the air and help you balance. Now we open it out, and it's the stretch part of horse. So there's 2 stretching asanas now, meaning like second chakra ones where you work your stretch in the hip area. So here we are, elbow pressing against the knees. Good. Breathe. And then we come up and we're going to face the front of the mat. The left foot is forward. You might need your blocks on this. The back foot, right foot is facing forward, so we can go into a hamstring stretch. So if you're using, it's pyramid. So if you're using blocks, maybe the blocks are on either side of your left foot. And here we are. And maybe you don't need such high blocks. Let's see how that works for you. It's also interesting to notice how you react to each of the categories. Like, balance can be frustrating if it doesn't come easy to you. Maybe you're, happy with the hamstring stretch because it's what you need, or feels sort of like, okay, the intensity is welcome. I don't know. See, what is your story? What happens when you're in this pose? One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. So really it's the forward leg, the left leg that's stretching, and then we come up. All right. Now we open it out again. And we have, of course, the strength. Okay, so you're going to be, your legs are super strong, the pelvis wants to come forward, and you're keeping your spine upright. Interlace fingers, take a breath in through the nose. Exhale through your mouth, and then stay low and breathe. It could be nasal breathing, whatever works best for you. And then we press feet into the mat. We're coming to warrior 2. So don't forget about your back heel, your back foot, the heel, back heel faces the back end of the mat. And your left foot turns all the way to face the front of your mat, and pelvis is open. And then we say square when you're facing the front of the mat, but pelvis is open, but you look to your left. And working with strength. One more breath. The grounding breath. We move into twists. So you're going to raise your back heel. Your right hand could be on the block or on the mat. You could come to prayer balance, okay? So I might just have my hand on the block, left arm comes up, and you twist, twisting towards your belly. You're doing beautiful. Lower, and now we come to half spinal twist. So you just be careful with your right knee. It comes down, and then like for me, I mean, my knee is okay with this, but I do use my hands kind of to lighten the load because I carry some of the weight on my hands. And then left leg comes over the other. So maybe you're going to modify the right knee to straighten, and so you can have your right knee there. Right arm up into the air. And you twist to your left. You got it. You know, there's some days where I'm like, I'm certain I said it right. Everybody's going the other way, or half the class goes one. But today it's like we're right on online, and Joyce right on. I can only see Joyce in Tone. So Tona's got it as well. Okay, and then we release. So that's working chakra. Okay, so we come out, and this next one, we're coming to like a shoulder stand sequence. So if you can't do shoulder stand for whatever reason, you can have a block under you and the legs are up in the air and life is good. Okay, or you're able to come up and maybe you're like really have a fold, you know, you look more like jackknifed in it, that works. Or if somebody can take your elbows closer in and straighten out in shoulder stand. It's hard to talk into it because you're like your chin is right up against sternum. And breathe. That works the throat chakra and all the endocrine glands. Especially works the thyroid and the parathyroid. Now, if you're in your shoulder stand, you can take one leg towards the floor and then switch, or you can take both feet towards the floor or all the way down in plow. But when you're in this pose, you don't want to look left or right. You're just looking up at your legs. We're going to come out. And remember, there's a whole other side awaiting us. So you're coming out and your feet are flat on the mat. Take your head side to side. That means if you have a block, you can move the block out of the way. You could either roll over, lie over a rolled blanket, lie over a block. You could do fish pose as you like. But whichever one you choose, some of you have bolsters, you can do that as well. The idea is that I want to open the throat. So sometimes we're fine with the block, but you just need a little extra something under your head. I don't want your head hanging, okay? It's not very good for you. So wherever you're at, you're in this arched position, very, very open. Yep, and some put the block under the sacrum. That's beautiful as well. That works really well. And let's take 3 more rounds of breath here. Intentional breathing and really working at, can I elongate my breath? The breath in and the breath out. Come out, knees start to bend the knees. Roll to one side, roll out, and then start to make your way to sitting. Before we make our way all the way up for second side tree, et cetera, we're gonna just pause for a moment in the seated position. And there's something called ujjayi breath. Ujjayi means to conquer the busy mind. You think of constricting your throat, so that some call this the ocean breath, the seashell breath, Darth Vader breath. I've heard that. It's loud. So if you're comfortable doing that, try the ocean breath. Say Darth Vader, or simple deep breathing without constricting your throat. All together, 3 of them. Conscious breathing lowers cortisol levels. It's amazing. It's amazing. So really good. Releases tension throughout the body. We're coming out. We have a whole other side. So we're gonna come back to child's pose for a moment. Stretch it out, and everything will feel better second time around because you're making everything more even and balanced. We'll go to downward facing dog. Stretching it out. And then walk to the front of your mat. Once to the front of your mat, pause. You can take hands to elbows or reach for your ankles, whatever it takes for you to release. And then come on up and reach the arms up into the air. So grounded like a tree, okay? So left foot comes up this time, left foot. And remember, so we went to the wall, so we had your straps nearby because there's 2 balance points. Tree is solid, living. Now we know trees communicate. Communication through your root system. Chemicals released. So pretty strong here. Really proud to be a tree. And of course, you can stay here or use your strap. You need to reach for your left big toe. So your strap and your left leg out to the left. And then we'll open it out for the stretch part of horse. Okay, so heels turned in, toes turned out. You're doing really well. Drop down because they're all kind of put together here, aren't they? So you're shifting side to side. Maybe the second time around you could reach for your ankles, but at the same time, elbows pushing your knees back. Push up, lengthen, and we have pyramid. So, if it's hard for you to square, step forward and then step your left foot back again. And have your blocks handy if you used them before. They're nice to have. The blocks are on either side of your right foot, not forward of. And then we could also, you could have your hands on your pelvis and come forward. So it's hamstring, definitely right hamstring. And think about the ball of the foot, your right foot is down. You can lift the toes, and spread them, because the tendency is to like grip the floor with the toes. So you should be able to extend and relax the toes. And if you're not using blocks, then I would challenge you to try to have your palms down. There's not much difference from fingers. It doesn't seem like there would be, but there is. Second chakra, deep. Even though it's a hamstring, it really works the hip joint. Let's go ahead and come on up. And then we have strengths. We start out with horse, the strength part of horse. So heels turned in, toes turned out, interlace fingers, press palms forward. Upright spine, as upright as we can be. Yes, and you can do the exhale through the mouth or simply nasal breathing. See, I just naturally found myself doing the Ujjayi breath. It's funny. Straight. Okay, come up. And then we have warrior 2. So shifting. Remember that it's still open hip like it was in horse. You bend your right knee, you extend, but what turns to the front of the mat is your head, your neck turns, your head turns. And steady with your breath, a grounding breath. One more breath here. Have our first twist. So on this, so left hand is down. You could have your left hand could be on block or on the mat. It's nice to do what you did on the first side. Back heel is up and your right arm comes up. So now, like in studio, you can see yourself in the mirror, and can you drop down so you have a 90-degree bend at your right knee side. And one more breath. Inhale, exhale, release. Good work. And then we have half spinal twist. So whichever way you choose, be careful with your left knee as you come down. Good. And then right foot is, for some, that's nothing. It doesn't bother any, and others have to be really careful. So I always mention it. Left arm is up, breathe in, and then exhale, elbow, cross knee, and twist. All right, we're unfolding, coming out of that. And so we've got our shoulder stand again. So, so we're coming back, and some of you have the block under your sacrum. That if that is better and safer on your neck, I would say, yeah, go there. And then others can come up, taking your elbows closer in, so you can really go up high and straighten the legs. Feet are together. We're not pointing or flexing, but the feet are together. Either feet are relaxed, or you can push up through the ball of the foot if you're in shoulder stand. and some will start to come to plow. So again, there are different ways, maybe just lowering the legs slightly, lowering one leg or both, and perhaps reaching for the floor up overhead. So after that, we're coming out. It's really important to release the neck. Some of you did the floating bridge, that works, so the block under your pelvis. I like the block under the upper back, and of course, supporting your head if necessary, or fish without any props under you. Good, next. So let's just say maybe 3 more rounds of breath here. Those of you with a block underneath you and fish, maybe you can take arms up overhead and have your index fingers touch down, if your shoulders allow. So we start to retract, like you retract your arms, you bend your knees, you roll. Guess what? We're coming to a seated posture again. And it's different this time. You've done both sides, you've worked both sides of your body. Hopefully there's a sense of equilibrium. There's this breathing that we're going to do. I don't know. I've done this before, like I've experienced this before, just see. Those of you who have a blanket, unless it's underneath you, that's fine. I can do a little accordion fold. The blanket weighs nothing, but somehow putting it on my lap is again another kind of grounding force. It's really funny. I did a meditation once. I was meditating under someone, and she suggested having a blanket, and I thought, it's just a blanket, but it is so grounding. It doesn't weigh much. So take 3 rounds of breath here. The Ujjayi breath. So again, it might be that you're just going to do normal breathing, or you're going to do the ocean breath where you constrict your glottis, you constrict your throat, and you're going to conquer the busy mind. But we've been conquering it. We've been working at that whole session. So when you complete 3, you'll lie on your backs for Shavasana. So as we lie here in Shavasana, just a little reminder about, this mindful breathing or grounding breath, but we can say mindful breathing. The breath, the mindful breathing helps us to reduce cortisol, and we reduce bodily tension. Mindful breathing improves mental clarity. That's a beautiful experience, to be here and to experience mental clarity. And this mindful breathing facilitates calm throughout your body. It's beautiful, calm throughout your mind.
your last minute here in Shavasana is sometimes the deepest part of your meditation. And then I'm going to have you go ahead and slowly deepen the breath, roll to one side, and make your way to sitting. And then we'll end our session with an Om. Please join me. Those of you online, you can turn on your audio